Yesterday percent 20 I percent 20 TOOK percent 28 percent 20 LOOK percent 20 80 percent 20 WHICH percent 20 OF percent 20 THE percent 20 RAYS percent E2 percent 80 percent 99 percent 20 STARTING percent 20 PITCHERS percent 20 was percent 20 MOST percent 20 LIKELY percent 20 TO percent 20 BE percent 20 IN percent 20 TRADED percent 20 THIS percent 20 winter dot percent 20 T HE percent 20 LIST percent 20 OF percent 20 CANDIDATES percent 20 INCLUDED percent 20 JAKE percent 20 ODORZ percent 20 MATT percent 20 Andres percent 20 AUSTIM percent 20 Pruitt percent 20 NATHAM percent 20 Evaldi percent 20 BRENT percent 20 Honeywell percent 20 AND percent 20 JOSE percent 20 DE percent 20 Leon dot percent 20 NOW percent 20 ID percent 20 LIKE percent 20 T O percent 20 PROJECT percent 20 THE percent 20 RAYS percent E2 percent 80 percent 99 percent 200 2018 percent 20 FIVEMAN percent 20 PITCHING percent 20 rotation dot percent 20 BARRING percent 20 A percent 20 SURPRISE percent 20 acquisition percent 20 THE percent 20 PITCHERS percent 20 WHO percent 20 WILL percent 20 C OMPRISE percent 20 THE percent 20 RAYS percent 20 STARTING percent 20 ROTATION percent 20 IM percent 200 2018 percent 20 ARE percent 20 ALREADY percent 20 ON percent 20 THE percent 20 roster dot percent 20 THE percent 20 PLAYERS percent 20 WHO percent 20 WILL percent 20 MAKE percent 20 UP percent 20 THE percent 20 ROTATION percent 20 S HOULD percent 20 NOT percent 20 BE percent 20 A percent 20 HUGE percent 20 surprise percent 20 AS percent 20 THEY percent 20 HAVE percent 20 EACH percent 20 BEEM percent 20 IM percent 20 THE percent 20 ORGANICATIOM percent 20 FOR percent 20 A percent 20 WAL dot percent 20 SO percent 20 WITHOUT percent 20 FURTHER percent 20 ADU percent 20 my percent 20 PROJECTIOM percent 20 FOR percent 20 THE percent 20 RAYS percent 200 2018 percent 20 FIVEMAN percent 20 PITCHING percent 20 rotation dot percent 201 dot percent 20 CHRIS percent 20 ARCHER percent 20 R percent 20 THE percent 20 LOVABLE percent 20 KID percent 20 ISNT percent 20 AN percent 20 ACE percent 20 BUT percent 20 HE percent 20 S TILL percent 20 BELONGS percent 20 IM percent 20 THE percent 20 ALS percent 20 TOPTIER percent 20 of percent 20 STARTING percent 20 pictures dot percent 20 AS percent 20 LONG percent 20 AS percent 20 HE percent 20 IS percent 20 UNDER percent 20 CONTRACT percent 20 WITH percent 20 THE percent 20 RAIS percent 20 HE percent 20 is percent 20 T HE percent 20 STARTER percent 20 AT percent 20 THE percent 20 TOP percent 20 OF percent 20 THE percent 20 rotation dot percent 202 dot percent 20 BLAKE percent 20 SNELL percent 20 L percent 20 THE percent 20 SOUTHPAW percent 20 HAS percent 20 BEEN percent 20 THE percent 20 RAYS percent 20 B EST percent 20 STARTER percent 20 SINCE percent 20 THE percent 20 ALLSTAR percent 20 break dot percent 2012 percent 20 GS percent 2069.1 percent 20 IP percent 2021.7 percent 25K percent 207.6 percent BB percent 203.38 percent 20 ERA percent 203.65 percent 20 FIP dot percent 20 IF percent 20 SNELL percent 20 CAN percent 20 CONTINUE percent 20 TO percent 20 DEVELOP percent 20 AND percent 20 MATURE percent 20 OVER percent 20 THE percent 20 COURSE percent 20 OF percent 20 THE percent 202,018 percent 20 season percent 20 HE percent 20 SHOULD percent 20 BE percent 20 ABLE percent 20 TO percent 20 GIVE percent 20 THE percent 20 RAYS percent 28 percent 20 CONFIDENT percent 20 STARTER percent 20 WHO percent 20 CAM percent 20 BE percent 20 COUNTED percent 20 ON percent 20 FOR percent 20 AT percent 20 LEAST percent 20 SIX percent 20 IN GS percent 20 PER percent 20 STAR dot percent 203 dot percent 20 JCOB percent 20 FARIA percent 20 R percent 20 TH He percent 20 MOST percent 20 CONSISTENT percent 20 RAYS percent 20 STARTER percent 20 IM percent 202,017 dot percent 20 FARIA percent 20 IS percent 20 POISED percent 20 TO percent 20 HAVE percent 20 A percent 20 VERY percent 20 GOOD percent 202,018 dot percent 20 HIS percent 20 CONSISTENCY percent 20 MAKES percent 20 HIM percent 20 AM percent 20 IDEAL percent 20 THIRD percent 20 STARTER percent 20 FOR percent 20 A percent 20 TEAM percent 20 THAT percent 20 PRIDES percent 20 ITSCLF percent 20 OM percent 20 PITCHING percent 20 AND percent 20 DEFENSE percent 20 AS percent 20 THE percent 20 BLUEPRINT percent 20 TO percent 20 success dot percent 204 dot percent 20 MATT percent 20 ANDRIESE percent 20 R percent 20 AGS percent 20 BEN percent 20 ROUGHLY percent 20 AN percent 20 ABRAGD percent 20 STARTER percent 20 AT percent 202,017 dot percent 20 GIVING percent 20 YOUR percent 20 TEAM percent 20 A percent 20 SHOT percent 20 IS percent 20 ALL percent 20 YOU percent 20 CAM percent 20 ASK percent 20 FOR percent 20 from percent 20 A percent 2045 percent 20 starter dot percent 20 ANDRIESE percent 20 SHOULD percent 20 BE percent 20 JUST percent 20 THAT percent 20 IM percent 202,018 dot percent 205 dot percent 20 NATHAN percent 20 EOVALD I percent 20 R percent 20 THINK percent 20 H E percent 20 WILL percent 20 IMPRESS percent 20 ENOUGH percent 20 IM percent 20 SPRING percent 20 TRAINING percent 20 TO percent 20 WARRANT percent 20 A percent 20 FIFTH percent 20 STARTR percent 20 position dot percent 20 HES percent 20 ALWAYS percent 20 BEEN percent 20 ONE percent 20 OF percent 20 T HE percent 20 HARDESTTHROWING percent 20 STARTERS percent 20 IM percent 20 BASEBALL percent 20 AND percent 20 PROVIDES percent 20 A percent 20 SOLID percent 20 low risk percent 20 HIGHREWARD percent 20 OPTION percent 20 FOR percent 20 THE percent 20 RAYS percent 20 ON percent 20 AN percent 20 inexpensive VE percent 20 contract dot percent 20 I percent 20 BELIEVE percent 20 THAT percent 20 ROTATION percent 20 CAM percent 20 BE percent 20 GOOD percent 20 ENOUGH percent 20 WITH percent 20 ARCHER percent 20 AS percent 20 UR percent 20 BEST percent 20 picture dot percent 20 HES percent 20 NOT percent 20 A percent 20 NUMBER percent 21%, 20 BUT percent 20 THERRES percent 20 ONLY percent 20 A percent 20 HALF percent 20 DOZEN percent 20 TRUE percent 20 NUMBER percent 20 ONES percent 20 IM percent 20 ALL percent 20 OF percent 20 baseball dot percent 20 FARIA percent 20 AND percent 20 SNELL percent 20 ARE percent 20 TWO percent 20 KEY percent 20 NAMES percent 20 THAT percent 20 NEED percent 20 TO percent 20 PITCH percent 20 WELL percent 20 FOR percent 20 THE percent 20 RAYS percent 20 TO percent 20 HAVE percent 20 A percent 20 BRIGHT percent 20 future dot percent 20 AFTER percent 20 that percent 20 we percent 20 HAVE percent 20 A percent 20 COUPLE percent 20 OF percent 20 NUMBER percent 20 FIVES percent 20 IN percent 20 ANDRIESE percent 20 A ND percent 20 EOVALGI percent 20 THAT percent 20 COULD percent 20 BE percent 2045 percent 20 DEPENDING percent 20 ON percent 20 performance dot percent 20 THIS percent 20 KEEPS percent 20 US percent 20 WITH percent 20 PRUITT percent 20 AS percent 20 A percent 260H percent 20 man percent 20 long NENG percent 20 RELIEVER percent 20 A percent 20 ROLE percent 20 AGS percent 20 MUCH percent 20 MORE percent 20 SUITED percent 22 dot percent 20 IM percent 20 THE percent 20 EVENT percent 20 OF percent 20 injury percent 20 the Y percent 20 HAVE percent 20 TWO percent 20 YOUNG percent 20 PROSPECTS percent 20 IN percent 20 JOSE percent 20 DE percent 20 LEON percent 20 AND percent 20 RYAN percent 20 YARBOUGH percent 20 WHO percent 20 ARE percent 20 RADY percent 20 TO percent 20 COME percent 20 UP percent 20 AND percent 20 MAKE percent 20 A percent 20 SPOT percent 20 start dot percent 20 THE percent 20 TWO percent 20 PITCHERS percent 20 ARE percent 20 ALSO percent 20 available percent 20 FOR percent 20 PROMOTION percent 20 IM percent 20 THE percent 20 EVENT percent 20 THAT percent 20 THE percent 20 LIKELYTOBE percent 20 SPECULATD percent 20 CHRIS percent 20 ARCHER percent 20 TRADI percent 20 EVER percent 20 COMES percent 20 TO percent 20 fruition dot percent 20 I percent 20 D OUBT percent 20 THEY percent 20 WILL percent 20 SHUTTLE percent 20 Honeywell percent 20 SUGGESTING percent 20 THY percent 20 WILL percent 20 CALL percent 20 HIM percent 20 UP percent 20 AND percent 20 LET percent 20 HIM percent 20 GEO percent 20 TO percent 20 WORK percent 20 IN percent 20 THE percent 20 BI G percent 20 LEAGUES percent 20 FOR percent 20 GOD percent 20 ON percent 20 THE percent 20 GLASS percent 20 HALF percent 20 EMPTY percent 20 SIDE percent 20 OF percent 20 FINGS percent 20 OUR percent 20 DEPTH percent 20 BECOMES percent 20 WORRISOME percent 20 IF percent 20 THE percent 20 RAYS percent 20 ARE percent 20 DOWN percent 20 ON percent 20 D percent 20 LEON percent 20 AND percent 20 DONT percent 20 VIEW percent 20 CHIHWEI percent 20 HU percent 20 AS percent 20 A percent 20 starter doc percent 20 SUDDENLY percent 20 THEN percent 20 ITS percent 20 JUST percent 20 Andres percent 20 Evaldi percent 20 Pruitt percent 20 AND percent 20 HONE WELL percent 20 AS percent 20 OUR percent 204,567 percent 20 WITH percent 20 MAYBE percent 20 YONNY percent 20 C HIRINOS percent 20 AS percent 20 AN percent 20 EXTRA percent 20 option doc percent 20 THAT percent 20 BEING percent 20 SED percent 20 PERHAPS percent 0 THE percent 20 RAYS percent 20 WILL percent 20 ADD percent 20 A percent 20 VETERAN percent 20 SP percent 20 ON percent 20 A percent 20 CHEAP percent 20 CONTRACT percent 20 WHAT percent 20 ARE percent 20 YUR percent 20 THOTS percent 20 ON percent 20 MY percent 20 PROJECTION percent 20 LEAVE percent 20 A percent 20 comment